The next presenter, anyway, we'll come back. The next presenter, inshallah, is going to be joining us virtually. Good. He's not facing the window, so the face is not. Okay. Justice M.A. Ambali, OFR FISN. He is a retired Grand Qadi of Kwara State, the Sharia Court. He retired in 2008. Has had a long career in teaching, in administration, in da'wah, as a preacher, as a scholar, has traveled broadly and widely for conferences all over the world. As you could see from his titles, he has been given a number of honorary awards, the OFR, Order of the Federal Republic. Congratulations, and he's a fellow of the Institute of Security, Nigeria. Without spending much time, Sheikh, you are welcome to take the floor. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصلى الله على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. عونك يا الله، عونك يا رحمن، عونك يا رحيم، عونك يا مالك يوم الدين، وعونك يا من إياه نعبد وإياه نستعين، عونك يا من يهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. The moderator, sir, Director General of Dawa Institute, Islamic Education Trust, Muslim Lawyer Association of Nigeria, Molan, Niger Branch, Dr. Omar Elias, I've gained so much from what you said. Professor Osman Muhammad Shoaib Donorain, that speech you gave was so wonderful. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I do appreciate the honor our Institute of Islamic Education Trust and leadership of Molan of Niger State. I appreciate the honor given me to participate in this program to discuss, as you have learned, women in executive leadership, perspective from Islamic jurisprudence. I say Islamic jurisprudence is known to its jurists as fiqh. In Arabic, fiqh means al-fahamu wal-ilmu, meaning understanding and knowledge. But in Islamic terminology, it refers to al-ilmu بالأحكام الشرعية العملية المكتسب من أدلتها الفصلية, meaning by fiqh we mean applied knowledge of Islamic law doctrines arrived at through its authoritative sources. And as we heard from the professor, the sources are Nas of Quran and Nas of Hadith. The consideration of women in executive leadership, without doubt, falls under fiqh. This is because There is no explicit and categorical nas, that is text of Quran or Sunnah, allowing or disallowing women executive in leadership. Then the opinion of the jurists are divergent, understandably. Some oppose women in executive innocently because there is no text in its support, and others approve of it for the same reason. That is, there are no texts forbidding it. This is not strange because the divided opinions are in line with the two contrasting dogmas we have in Islamic law. For instance, Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah ta'ala, said, Al-halalu ma dalla dalilu ala hilli, وقال Imam Shafi'i رضي الله عنه الحرام ما دل الدليل على تحريمه. Meaning, according to Abu Hanifa, it is only what the law says this is allowed that is allowed. And Imam Shafi took the other side and said, Al-haram ma dalla dalilu ala tahrimihi. Only what the law says don't do, that is forbidden, that is taken as forbidden. This will be understood better when we refer to hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam saying, إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين وبينهما أمور متشابهات لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس فمن اتقى الشبهات فقد سبع لدينه وعرضه ومن وقع في الشبهات وقع في الحرام. This hadith is well known to all of us. That Prophet alayhi salatu said, Al halal bayyin. What is halal is well known by everybody. When al haram bayyin. What is haram is well known. وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُتَشَابِهَاتٌ. There are certain things which are neither here nor there. And then the Prophet said, anybody who avoids these things upon which law is silent, has protected his religion and honor, and so on and so forth. There, this just quoted favors the view of Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah be pleased with him, who held that it is good to play safe and avoid what the law is silent upon, in favor of the opinion of Imam Shafi'i, which is contrasting that of Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah be pleased with both of them, is Quran chapter 2, verse 2:9, saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الذي خلق لكم في الأرض جميعا. It is Allah, He, who created lakum. Lakum here for you means men and women. Ma fil ardi jami'a, everything that is on earth. Another verse I intend to quote to support the view of Imam Shafi'i is Alam tara anna Allah sakhara lakum ma fil ardi. Don't you people see, mankind, men and women, don't you see that Allah has subjected for you male and female ma fil ardi? For the school of Imam Shafi'i, may Allah be pleased with him, the dogma is everything is halal. It is haram. If it is haram, the law will prohibit it. Honestly, none supersede the other. The opinion given by Imam Shafi'i and the opinion given by Imam Abu Hanifa, to me, none supersede the other. I believe the circumstances determine which is applicable in any given circumstances. God knows best. Along this line, the jurists are divided into two main camps, as we've been hearing: the antagonist and the protagonist of women in executive leadership. Islamic law defines executive leadership as this, and we've heard it from professor and from doctor. But let me say this: Islamic law defines executive leadership as الولاية العامة، وهي ما بها يملك المولى السلف الملزمة في شأن من شؤون المجتمع. That is to say that when you talk of الولاية العامة, overall power means binding authority in the society, like the power of the head of the state, like the power of head of an emirate, or like the power of the head of the court. I not transfer. I know that we discussed in the afternoon. Well, it is history will continue to repeat itself. This is not new that today, as in the past, women have been making demands, agitating, complaining, and they go as far as possible. For instance, let's recall the case of Imra to Saad ibn Rabi'i. That is the woman, the wife of Saad ibn Rabi'i. Out of which, because when she lost her husband, she went to the Prophet and told the Prophet والسلام, that, and she went, beg your pardon, with her two children, female children. See, these with female children cannot get married unless they are taken care of by the wealth of their father. And their uncle has taken over, has seized this property. Then when he gave the prophet this, it was really a difficult thing because prophet himself could not promptly answer the question. Prophet was divided between the two. One, the tradition that what the uncle did was in order according to Arab culture. But the reasons given by this woman, they are very, very sound. Then God said, the Prophet said, wait until Allah decides. And then the verse of Holy Quran, chapter 4, verses 11 to 14, giving women right to have share in the estate of their uh, deceased persons, then that one was revealed. That is an agitation for the woman. The same woman, Imrat Sa'ad bin Rabi', went to the Prophet والسلام, when her husband committed domestic violence against her. She told the Prophet, and then Prophet was promptly. Prophet said, "Oh, al-qasas." Then that is to say retaliation. Then Quran says, "Wala ta'jal bil Qur'ani min qabli an yuqda ilayka wahyuhu wa qur rabbi zidni ilma." Then Prophet Allah cautioned Prophet, "No, don't rush. Let us make a revelation before you make a pronouncement." It is then the common verse we have been hearing today was revealed. الرجال قوامون على النساء up to the end. Another one is Salama, who went to the Prophet that men are of women. Quran chapter 3 was saying that we Allah فَسَجَابَ لَهُمْ رَبُّهُمْ أَنِّي لَا أُضِيعُ عَمَلَ عَامِلٍ مِنْكُمْ مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى. That Allah will not waste the effort. He will not ignore the work of any of you, zakar, male or female. Well, even I'm happy, Doctor, a doctor from Maiduguri. I'll just mention one thing. That is Khawla. That is Khawla bintu Salma. I think bintu Khawla. This woman, because of in our respect, she came to the Prophet to protest, so to say, and discuss with the Prophet on irregularities, injustices, unfairness between men and women that men have committed against women. And look at you, that very chapter was called Al-Mujadala. That is an argument. And that's the argument between the Prophet والسلام, and this woman. And Quran called it also Tahawu, dialogue. And that very chapter was named after that discussion. We call him Mujadala. Then she complained about her husband. She said, Ya Rasulullah, akala mali, my husband, dependent on my wealth, wa afuna shababi, and exhausted my youthfulness. Wa nasarat batni hatta iza qabalatni. And he walked, I mean, it's made my stomach, which is very well placed, to become flat at hatta iza qabala, until I'm old. One kata'a waladi, and my child is far away from me. Allahumma. What is hawla? This woman hawla. She said, Allahumma, my Lord, inni ashku ilayka. I'm not complaining to the Prophet. I'm complaining ilayka ya Allah. Then Quran said, Kad sami Allah qawla allati tujadiluka fi zawjiha wa tashtaki ila Allah. All this I went far to show that women have been asking, why do men, their counterpart men, enjoy certain things and they women do not enjoy? We can go on and on and on and on and give instances where women have come up to the Prophet ﷺ to make some demands. But I must say, with all sense of responsibility, there was no evidence that that is women in those days, ever demanded from the Prophet, never demanded for appointment to executive posts. Well, as I said, this issue divides Muslim jurists and Muslim scholars into protagonists and antagonists. First, let's discuss the reasoning of the antagonists. They say, that is the verse we have been hearing. They say, Ar-rijalu qawwamuna ala nisai. Men, women, men are in charge. Men are controller. Men are guardian of women. Now, this one, this opinion, Kawama, which we have heard about, is what some the protagonist and the antagonist say no. Kawama is not limited to domestic affairs. It covers everything: political, economic, social, all life. That is the stand of the antagonist. Yeah. Then they also quote another hadith, which we have been hearing. لن يفلح قوم ولو أمرهم إلى النساء. Never will a nation or a community succeed when they entrust their affairs to a woman. Now, even those who do say, who are the antagonists, they quoted, they said, لو كانت امرأة تكون خليفة لكانت عائشة. If it were possible for any woman to become Khalifa, the Prophet Aisha would have been one, because of their virtue, because of her knowledge, because of her integrity, and so on and so forth. Fourthly, the antagonist said Islam has put women at appropriate place. They say, Yukrimul Islamu ala Maria. Islam gives respect to women. وَوَضَعَهَا فِي مَكَانَتِهَا اللَّائِكَ, and put her in her appropriate place. وَيَكِلُ إِلَيْهَا, and he places him, giving her the position which is great, and that is her to be in charge of domestic affairs, rearing children, and what have you. Well, probably finally, my fifth reason from from the antagonist is that these opinions of the antagonists of women in executive leadership receive the support of majority of the juries of school of Imam Malik, of the school of Imam Shafi, and of school of Imam Ahmad bin Ali. Well, this is what I can offer in respect of, in support of the antagonist. Now let's see the opinion of the protagonist. The protagonists also have in their support giant scholars like Imam Abu Hanifa and his school, except minority there, Ibn Qasim, Imam Malik, At-Tabari, Ibn al-Hazm, and so on and so forth. Meaning, in the same way you can talk of giant scholars in support of antagonism, you have also those who support the right of women to hold executive offices. Let me quote from the school, from the book of Ibn Rushdi. He says, he said, وكذلك اختلفوا في اشتراك للذكورة. In the same manner, they have differed, they have had divergent opinion about whether a male gender, and whether a male gender should be a condition for leadership, for executive leadership. وقال Abu Hanifa said, يجوز أن تكون المرأة قاضيا في الأموال. Imam Hanifa confined empowered woman to be a leader, I mean to be a judge, but confined it to uh, civil matters. Well, I'm not, that is not my issue, and we shall discuss that in the afternoon. But Tabari, that is what interests me. What Tabari says, يجوز أن تكون المرأة حاكما على الإطلاق. يجوز أن تكون المرأة حاكما على الإطلاق. That is Tabari's of opinion that a woman can be a qadi, a hakim, or anything, whatever you say, without restriction. Now, that is the opinion of a Tabari. Then that is an answer to, if you say some, uh, the groups of the first group have some giant scholars. The second group also have some very many respective scholars. Now, let's take up the verse chapter 3, chapter 4, verse 34. We have been hearing. I don't need to waste your time to read it and read it. But if you hear it saying, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم إلى آخره. Up to the end of that verse, the protagonists say with all emphasis that that verse is only on domestic matters. It doesn't extend to outside domestic matters. That is to say, we agree that Allah, for reason given and advanced by professional, Allah made men captains of family sheep. But I will ask a question. Does captainship of
While we wait for the reconnection,
yeah, the second reason in respect of chapter 4, verse 34, apart from the content having to do only with the domestic matters, the cause, Sabab Nuzul, also supported it. It was a woman who came to the Holy Prophet to complain about domestic violence. That then, and the Prophet gave an answer, and the Prophet said, no. Allah cautioned the Prophet and said, no, wait. And then this verse was revealed. The revelation, the content, the meaning, and everything are in respect of domestic matters. Now, another issue, in favor of protagonists, is one hadith of the Prophet. We've heard it from Doctor now, saying, "Ar-nisa'u shakaikur rijal." That is, women are shakaik. The word shakika means somebody of the same origin, same parent, the same mother, the same mother. Then I want to say that if the Prophet ﷺ described women as our shakaik, meaning our full brothers of the same mother and father, in a family, shakik and shakika have equal, that is, whatever right a shakik have in the family, shakikas also have the same right. For instance, what is good for the geese is good for the gender, and what is bad for the gender is bad for geese. For instance, another aspect, and it's the hadith of the Prophet, Lan yafliha qawmun wallahu amrahum ila nisai. With this hadith, I agree totally that the hadith is not fabricated. It's an authentic hadith, but you need to know how it came. It did come because people of Persia, there was palace coup in Persia. We understand that the Kisra, that is the king, was killed by his child. And then he knew that this family and these two children he has, princes they have, they also plan to kill him, to take his life. In fact, they have succeeded. And then he countered that and gave them also poison and they die. Then the family, I mean the people of Persia, say, wait, what do we do? No king, no prince, no prince. We have only one princess, and we don't want the throne to go outside that family. Then they appointed the princess. When the report came to the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, Prophet, oh, lan yafliya qawmun wallahu amrahum ila nisai. This shows, like the question of chapter 4, verse 34, that this is a special case in respect of Persia. And it's a special case in respect of Persia. Persia is like Rome, is one of the world powers. How can, for God's sake, that's the lamentation the prophet made, and it referred to Persia and even to Persia in that particular time, not Persia all the time. Talk less of being of general application. Um, then the issue, one other thing we have to know is that Islam has spread to different parts of the world with different backgrounds, with different cultures. In fact, I want to quote Imam Malik when Harun Rashid came from other Kufa or where he came from, and came to Mecca to perform Hajj. They usually he called on Imam Malik, and he told Imam Malik that, "Oh, let me hang Muwatta, that is your book, on the Kaaba, and impose it on everybody in the whole Muslim world. Here, 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 the report, here, the answer Imam Malik gave. Ya Amir al Mu'minin, O Amir, the commander, فإن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اختلفوا في الفروع. That is, the companions of the Prophet اختلفوا, disagree, have whole divergent opinion في الفروع about detail of Islamic principles. فافترقوا في البلدان, and they have gone to different parts of the world. وكل عند نفسه مصيب, and each of them regarded himself as the right person. So, in the same manner that it's different scholars, different juries at different time at different places hold different views. I agree with Imam Malik's opinion that should not impose just one idea. You should, he said, in fact, he said this. Imam Malik yara أن الاختلاف ضروري. There must be divergence of opinion. لتكون الأحكام. This is to enable our judgments, our decisions, موافقة مع عرف كل إقليم, to agree with the situation in different countries. And concluded saying, إن اختلاف العلماء رحمة على هذه الأمة. And that is the Prophet ﷺ too has said that اختلاف العلماء, the divergence of opinion, rahama, is a mercy ala hadhihi ummah. Support for the women's right to hold public office, including that of head of nation, is the story of Queen Saba. That is in Quran chapter 27, verse 32, 33, 34. I may not read it, but I will highlight it, saying this Surah this is in Surah Sabai, where Allah gave the governance Allah commended the good governance of Balkis. It's a lesson to us that Balkis was a woman. Even some say, we say, oh, was not a Muslim, she was not a Muslim, and so what? What Allah is, and so what? The stories in the Quran are not moonlight. They were events from which Muslims in particular and mankind in general should learn in the history and should learn. In the history of Balkisu, a ruler, Quran commend her wisdom in three things. One, she discerned truth from falsehood. Two, her genuine concern for interest of well-being of the Quran attributed to him, to her, beg your pardon, the quality of consultation. Tell me, these three attributes, which Quran commend about Balkis, remain features of good administration to non-Muslim and to Muslim and non-Muslim and forever till day. Allah recognize and use her good governance as a model because he does not disregard good deeds in good deed from believer or non-believer. The reward lady here or there, that's a different thing. These attributes of good governance of Balkis remain feature of good governance forever, both in Islamic and non-Islamic state. Why, I will ask, on earth did Quran use the leadership of Balkis to teach the art of governance if a woman cannot lead a nation? That remains a permanent question for us to answer. The universality of the verses of Balkis rulership negates the generic and interpretation of Quran 434 Messiah. I know my time is far spent. Let me quickly conclude and come back to Nigeria and say, in Nigeria, like other Muslim states, which are not Islamic states, it is the constitution of the country that governs who leads and who does not lead. In addition, we should put, in addition, we should put, in addition, we should put the chauvinism of our male political class where it belongs, where in Nigeria, and toward public office, executive or legislative, man today by men, do we follow Islamic law principles? If we do not talk of Islamic office in the office occupied by men, what a hypocrite than saying Muslim women in Nigeria should not fight for such positions. Let me repeat that part. In Nigeria, like other Muslim states, which are not Islamic states, it is the constitution of the country that governs who leads and who does not lead. In addition, we should put the chauvinism of our male political class where it belongs, where in Nigeria, if I may ask, and to what public office, if I may ask, executive or legislative, man today by men, do we allow Islamic law? If we do not talk of Islamic law in the offices occupied by men, let me ask, why? I ask, why? What are the hypocrisy of our male chauvinism is worse than saying Muslim women in Nigeria should not vie for such positions. In the farewell address given by the Prophet ﷺ during the farewell Hajj, the Prophet ﷺ expressed serious concern about fear of over three matters. I will not discuss the other two, but the main one that is relevant today is the right of women. One of them is the status Islam accorded women. That shows that the right will ever be threatened unless they are well resisted. The champions of the resistance are the Muslim women activists, and the victory of the women's activism is justice, and its defeat is nothing but to perpetuate injustice. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I think towards the ending of that presentation, I think it started like a Grand Qadi speaking. It ended like one of us in Dawah, activists, social change, dealing with reality, especially on a topic where scholars have differed. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank the Honorable Retired Grand Qadi for his presentation and the richness I think we have gotten from the three presenters.